Welcome to Somerset Overtime, a show about sports around Somerset. And today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, running. And joining us is someone you've probably seen running all around town. And he doesn't just run all around town, he runs races all over the place. And he is, in my opinion, he's the best runner in Somerset, Mr. James Chaves.
Thank you, George.
How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well.
So I like to start at the beginning.
Okay.
So tell me how long you've been running.
Wow, haven't given that much thought, but I guess organized running since 1985 when I first went into high school and stepped onto that cross-country team. So 85 to now, well over 30, 35 years.
Yeah, actually, that's 40.
Oh, thanks,
I know, because
George.
I graduated in 86, so
Okay.
I got my reunion coming up pretty soon.
There's been there's been a little bit of downtime, so maybe the 40 is 35.
Oh, okay. So you started through cross country in high school.
Started through
which is-
cross country in 1985, going to Diamond High School.
Okay.
And immediately enjoyed it, and just being a part of a team. And then, of course, as you know, cross country leads into winter track, and winter track leads into spring track.
Okay.
And so that just continued on for four years.
So it didn't after high school.
So after high school, things became a little bit complicated because I attended, at the time it was SMU.
Yep.
And then, of
Which
course,
is now University
correct,
of Massachusetts at Dartmouth.
correct. So it soon became UMass. I attended the School of Engineering over there. So to run on the UMass team was a bit much because of studies and then working part-time and that kind of thing. I continued to run just basically on my own, entering some local road races that both you and I competed in at the time, in the late 80s and early 90s. But as far as being a part of a team, that was about the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean I remember I ran at UMass Amherst.
You did?
For one cross country season, and
Okay.
it was the same thing. The studies were just so much.
Yeah.
I kind of had to make a decision, and
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, School of Engineering was no joke.
yeah. Okay. Why do you like running so much?
It's cheaper than therapy, George. No, I mean, I've always been a pretty active kid. I mean, even before entering high school, I was always, the kid that rode the bike, bounced the ball, kicked the can. So I enjoy being active. And of course, running, there's just a great feeling that comes with it. I mean, the release of endorphins, of course. So I enjoy running by myself. I enjoy running with other people. I just enjoy running.
So when did you start marathon running? When did that part of it start?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I would say when I was in my mid-20s, I had been running some 5Ks, some 10Ks, and the thought of running a full marathon was always kind of like in the back of my mind. And at the time, I was running with a group of people that would get together at BCC on Tuesday. Some people whom you probably know, Penny Catalano and Bill Boardman.
Oh my God, Penny Catalano.
Right.
I used to run with her a lot.
Yeah. And of course, Kenny Arruda, Eric Worsley. And we'd go out and we'd run 8 miles every Tuesday, sometimes 10 miles on the old Hilltopper course. And doing that, I started to think, wow, a daily 8-mile run is not much work at all. I wonder if I could actually run further than that, And so I just started talking to people and kind of bouncing some ideas, off of them. And they were like, yeah, of course, if you trained properly, you could complete a marathon without any problem at all. You might even run a pretty decent time. So it was, I would say, it was probably in my mid-30s or something along those lines that I really started thinking about it, getting serious about it, up in the distance and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was a challenge.
And how much training do you typically put into training for a marathon?
Well, I mean, of course, it all depends on if it's just a bucket list item and you just want to complete the race, you know, in 5 hours, or if you...
That's not you, though.
No, no, that's not me at all. So, I mean, I've known some people that have finished marathons on as little as 30 miles a week, which, you know, 30 miles comes up pretty darn quick when you consider that your long run has to work its way up to a 20-miler.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to run a quicker marathon, I would say closer to 50 miles a week, you know, spread out over 5 or 6 days.
So how many marathons have you run? How many?
So 2 weeks ago was my 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sitting down and I was going over this and I lost track. But it was my 20th.
Okay. And what's been your fastest time?
So my fastest time was 3 years ago. I went out to California, to Sacramento. They have a race out there called the California International Marathon, which is organized by runners, for runners. And I was successful in going sub 3 hours there. I ran 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 35 seconds.
Okay. You've run Boston, you've run New York.
Yes.
What is your favorite marathon? What is your...
Usually the one that goes the best.
But as far as like the whole event and the whole atmosphere around it, and the crowds, and
I mean, you know, a lot of people aspire to run Boston, but Boston is hectic.
yeah,
You know, the logistics with Boston can get crazy. The logistics with New York can get even crazier. I like to keep it simple. So believe it or not, Providence
Providence
Providence tends to be my favorite marathon. I've run Providence now 6 times, and it's just great because number one, I get to sleep in my own bed.
Okay.
I can be on the starting line in a half an hour. Getting in and getting out is no problem. I mean, there's ample parking at the Providence Place Mall.
Yeah.
Unlike Boston, you know, I mean, Boston is, when I run Boston, I leave my house at 4 o'clock in the morning. And for me, and the wave that I'm in, I don't get running until about 10:25. Yeah. So you're talking about 6 hours of both commuting in your car and then on the bus and then sitting, you know, up in Hopkinton waiting around. So that's no fun. You know, I like the idea of sleeping in my bed, driving 20 minutes, walking up to the starting line, and then also, you know, running on roads that are very familiar. You know, I mean, you're running in downtown Providence. You know, you're running on the East Bay Bike Path. You're running by, you know, Rhode Island Country Club. I mean, these are all places that I run all the time, you know, both just for fun and in training, you know. I think Providence does a fantastic job with the organization of their marathon.
But Boston really is the one that everybody aspires to run.
It's the one everyone aspires to, but only because it's the oldest.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's the granddad of marathons. You know, believe it or not, there are other marathons that are more difficult to get into.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. But yeah, I mean, people, they want to be affiliated with Boston. They want to be able to say that they ran the most prestigious and the oldest of marathons, you know.
And you've run that one how many times?
I ran Boston 6 times.
Okay.
And I've chosen for next year to actually sit out of Boston. I let the registration period expire, so I won't be going to Boston in 2026. Okay.
But I mean, unlike a lot of people run Boston through charities.
Correct.
And you're able to get an official number if you
Yeah.
raise a certain amount of money. But every time you've run, I think you've qualified, right? Which is not an easy thing to do. It's
No, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't easy for me. It took me probably 4 tries, maybe even 5 tries. But I tell you, what's even more difficult is the charity runners, because they have to do the same training,
Yep.
and they also have to raise the funds.
Yeah.
There are people, I have heard of people who simply take out their checkbook and they write a $5,000 or a $6,000 check to the Jimmy Fund, Dana-Farber Institute, and then they get their bib that way.
Yeah. It's
but
not easy to raise money for.
No,
it's
not at all.
easy-
Not at
Not
all.
easy to ask people for money. sometimes
Absolutely.
for-
Absolutely. So for me, it was never about, running through charity. It was trying to make the cutoff and get in that way. But I give charity runners all the credit in the world. Like I said,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's even more difficult than just, making a number.
And you had one year, I remember, where you qualified, but you didn't get in because there were so many fast runners in that division.
Yes, there was a year, probably my 3rd marathon, where I finally made the number for my age group. And not only do you have to make, the number, you've got to make the number plus some, because you just have so many people that want so few bibs. So that particular year, I finished and I felt very, very comfortable because I had a 2-minute buffer. Well, registration period came. I submitted all of my information. I submitted what I thought was going to be more than enough time, 2 minutes. And the BEA did all the calculations, and I ended up coming up 9 seconds short.
Wow. After all that work,
Yes.
that's gotta feel.
After, 3, possibly even 4 marathons, you qualify, but I did not qualify enough. And that becomes very frustrating for some people.
Now, is there any marathon that you haven't run that you would like to run, or any race, or?
Yeah, there is. I struggled this year with the idea of registering for the Chicago Marathon. So I have quite a few teammates that are going out to Chicago next year. There'll be close to 20, I believe. And it just turns into a great big party, of course, Yeah. And Chicago, I've never been to Chicago. I had a desire to see the city. Chicago tends to be a pretty flat marathon, so there's the possibility of running a really quick time in Chicago. And then, of course, I was going to have a lot of teammates out there, so it was going to be a lot of fun. The issue for me with Chicago is it takes place in October. So I don't need to tell you when those long runs would be happening.
You told me about the heat. And
Yeah. So, when I sat down and I kind of looked at, a training plan, I said, oh man, I'm going to have to be doing 20-mile runs late July and August. And that's just my kryptonite. That's just so darn difficult for me.
I mean, that's the thing with Boston too, is you're training during the winter too, right? So
It's
it
difficult
doesn't-
in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult in a different way in the sense that it becomes uncomfortable. Running in the cold is just uncomfortable. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. Is it uncomfortable? Well, yeah, of course. But the cold doesn't necessarily affect your performance as the heat affects your performance.
Yeah.
When you're cold, you don't necessarily stop running, do you?
No.
You got to keep running to generate more heat. But when you're starting to overheat, I mean, you can't keep running. You literally have to slow down.
Yeah. I think you said you had perfect weather for the New York Marathon.
Oh, this
fall, right?
this
And
year's
that was
New
in
York.
the 40s.
Yeah, this year's New York was, just really probably like a 9 out of 10. If there would have been a little bit more cloud cover, I think it would have been absolutely perfect, 10 out of 10 kind of weather. But I want to say the gun went off and it was about 44 degrees. So when I stepped stepped up to the starting line, I was feeling a little bit cold. But of course, within 10 minutes, that goes away. And within 20 minutes, you're peeling off your hat, you're peeling off your gloves, because you've generated some heat, So yeah, this year, New York was fantastic. And that was reflective in the women's elite race, because the women set out, actually the top 3 women ran course records. Yeah.
It's amazing the times you see nowadays.
Oh, it's...
We're going to have a sub 2 at some point. Right?
Yeah, a legitimate sub 2. Yeah, a legitimate sub 2. It's otherworldly. It's almost unbelievable.
You just mentioned your racing team. Do you want to tell me about them and
Sure.
how does that help you with your running?
Sure.
Being part of a team like that.
So about 6 years ago, I reached out to Brendan O'Leary, who he's the head coach of the O'Leary racing team, and he's based in Whitman, Massachusetts. And I reached out to him and I told him, hey, Brendan, I want to get serious about running a sub 3 hour marathon. Could you help me? And Brendan's quite accomplished. He's run 2 hours and 29 minutes. This is before super shoes. So if you if you add in the super shoes, he's probably down around a 2 hour and 25 minute marathon. So we started working together, and it was just a building process after that. He would send me a schedule, a training plan on an app called Final Surge right to my phone, and I would simply just follow that. I told him very early on that I was probably going to have to move around some workouts, just because of my work schedule and my home schedule, and he said that's not a problem. Here are the most important things you got to focus on. And being a part of the O'Leary racing team has been fantastic, because he coaches people literally from all over the world. I was just down in New York and I was with a guy from Poland who's a part of the team. He came to run New York City. There is another gentleman and his son who lives in Guatemala. There are multiple people from the West Coast that when I went out to CIM, I got together with them. So this is what I mean about it becomes a party. Everywhere we go, every major city, especially Boston, because everybody wants to come to Boston, the O'Leary Racing Squad gets together and we'll do a shakeout run, typically the day before the marathon, a nice and easy 3-mile run, and have some coffee, and you starting to put some faces and names to these people that you see through the internet. And then of course the race day itself, there's been a couple of different races where during the race I actually run into some teammates, which is pretty surprising, because just this past New York City, 59,000 runners, and I look over to my left and I see a guy with an O'Leary Racing singlet, and it was a teammate, Paul Sullivan, So it's been a lot of fun. It's been really motivating. Right now he has a group of women that are all chasing sub 3 hours, which is remarkable, And we all just kind of follow each other along on a running app called Strava. I don't know how familiar you are with Strava, but it's a social media app specifically for athletics.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was always an old-fashioned runner. I would not wear a watch.
Oh, boy.
I would not wear I had no pouches, nothing.
Nothing.
It's just my singlet and my shorts and my sneakers and socks, and that's it.
Yeah, it's come a long way now.
Yeah.
Technology has really changed the sport with GPS watches and nutrition and, like I mentioned earlier, super shoes and all of that stuff like that.
Oh, that's another topic related to running is nutrition.
Yeah.
So what do you do as far as that goes? You got to be very disciplined. I was very surprised one night when I ran into you at a Chinese restaurant. But
I may not have been training at the time, George. Yeah, I mean, nutrition is gigantic. I mean, I joke a lot about nutrition because I would say 80 to 90% of my diet is carbohydrates.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you name it. Everything from breads to pastas to rice to wraps. Just carbs, carbs, and more carbs. You know. But I mean, during the actual race, this is another area that has come such a long way. I mean, years ago, I hear stories. I'm a good friend with Jeff Smith, who
Well, I remember Jeff.
yeah,
Did you win Boston twice?
he won Boston in '84 and '85, and I mean, I remember him telling me stories of they didn't even have Gatorade back in the early '80s. It was it was basically water. That was the only thing that they had on the course was just water. So after that came the advent of Gatorade and some other sort of, carbohydrate mixes
Power
and things
bars.
like that. Yeah. Now, of course, they have these wonderful things called gels.
Yep.
Which they come in these small little foil packets, and it's just basically carbohydrates in the form of like a Jello type of thing. And during the race, as well as with training on your long runs, it's suggested that you take a couple of these things at different intervals. Otherwise, you're going to hit the wall. You're going to bonk. Your body just isn't made to run for over 3 hours or 20 miles with no nutrition whatsoever.
The biggest thing for me after a marathon was I was always starving after the race.
Well, of course you were, because you just used up 2,000 calories. So I mean, yeah, I mean it's very common. I think the metrics on my watch told me for New York City I had expended 2,500 calories during the race. Now, the day before, I had carb loaded, and I probably took in close to 5,000 calories. So the Saturday was spent just eating anything and everything that I could find. Carbohydrates, that is.
That was the big thing in Boston, was the pasta party the
Yeah.
night before, right?
Yeah. The pasta and the burrito bowls and the baked potatoes and all of that kind of stuff. Forget the chicken, forget the steak, forget the eggs. You don't need the proteins before. Just load up on the carbohydrates. Yeah.
I mean, back a little bit more to running. Do you vary your surfaces, or do you run strictly on the roads? What do you do as far as?
Yeah. I've never been a trail runner.
Okay.
I just don't find it very exciting. As far as varying the surfaces, the most I might vary is running on a ball field or something like that.
You don't do any track work, or you?
I do track work. Yes. There's always some track sessions in the marathon build-up, but I also that is softer than asphalt, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm not a big fan of the trails. I find the trails just can't run fast enough on the trails.
Yeah.
And it could be tricky. It's very technical. It's very, very technical. With the tree roots and the rocks and the loose fitting and all of that kind of stuff like that.
We used to do some running on those trails back at Case Junior High.
Oh, okay.
I think just because I've heard in the past that it's good to vary your surfaces.
I believe that.
I think it so you don't have as much wear and tear on your legs.
Sure.
But you're in your 50s.
Yes.
But you run very well for someone in their
thank you.
50s. Why do you think that is?
I think the key has been just consistency and not getting injured. In order to make any kind of progress, you got to be consistent at it. And if you get injured, that's a speed bump. You miss a couple of months. You're taking a step back, and you're no longer, if you're sidelined, you're no longer building, So I've been very, very fortunate with, the rare common cold. I've never had like any kind of physical issues whatsoever. Sure, my knees are hurting, but I mean, I'll go until I need a knee repair. you know, yeah, I've been very, very fortunate.
Now, I notice a lot of times when I see you, you're out running during the afternoon, which, I mean, that's really not the time when a lot of we're usually running in the morning.
Correct.
Does that have to do with your work?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I work the night shift, and of course I sleep during the day. So you probably see me running 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If that's the case, it's usually because I just woke up. But other than that, I'm usually out there around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't like to go out too darn early. I get up early, but I don't get started very early. I'm usually just having coffee and checking the news and stuff like that, and then finally getting myself out the door at 8 or 9 o'clock.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse now for about 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your next race going to be?
I haven't given that much thought. It's definitely not going to be a marathon. I think I'm going to take a little bit of time off from that particular distance. I won't say that I'm entirely done with the marathon distance. We have a mutual friend in Chris Morris who is trying to qualify, and I promised him that if he could get a qualifier for 2027, that I would run Boston with him. I think that would be a lot of fun, both training and actually running the race together. But it won't be, I don't think it's going to be a marathon for probably at least a year. There's some other races that'll be taking place, some really exciting shorter distances. Patty Kelly 10K up in Brockton, which you've heard.
I've run that one.
Yeah, Old Colony.
Is that like February?
It's going to be in March this year.
March this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Colonial Roadrunners put that on, and they do a really, really good job with that. It's a 10K. It's a fun distance. There's a great after party.
I remember them giving out these green running gloves that were.
Oh, really?
It was nice to get because it used to be earlier in the winter, like
okay.
in February, I think.
Yeah.
It was nice to get those.
I've participated in that a couple of different times, and that's right up my alley. It's basically 40 minutes of running. It's cool because it's in March. There's a great after party afterwards, to be with friends. So that'll take place. I'll probably register for something like that, unless, of course, the New Bedford Half interferes with it, which is also right around that time. I may very well participate in the New Bedford Half. That's another distance. That's a lot of fun.
I always loved that race.
Again, as we were saying, the organization is just...
That's what it is. That's it. And I mean, it is a tough race at the end.
Oh, absolutely.
Those last 2-3 miles with the hills are not easy, and the wind sometimes along the water. But that was one of the first road races I ever ran. Yeah. And the first year that I ran it, Jeff Smith won it.
There you go.
That was when I was a junior in high school.
Yeah. He was probably living right up the road at the time.
And at that time, it couldn't be the case anymore. He had set the record for that. I think he ran it in 61 minutes or
62.
62.
It still stands.
Okay, it still stands.
Yes.
Wow, that surprises me with some of the runners we've had come through here.
Yeah, it still stands.
He was,
like we were discussing earlier, the organization can make or break participation for a race, and New Bedford they've done a fantastic job. I mean, absolutely fantastic job with organizing. Probably 3,000 people in downtown New Bedford.
It's a big race.
Yeah. I mean, everything from the ease of parking, to the course and the road closures and having, the New Bedford Track Club has, I believe, close to 10 clocks on that course.
That was one of the things that I loved about that race because I could tell because I told you I'm old-fashioned. I would never wear a watch.
Sure.
I always, I knew how I was doing
Yep.
constantly, but still, I got to those last couple miles.
Yeah.
It always messed up my race.
Yeah. Well, the last mile is, up County Street. It's a tough one, that's for sure. But then it rewards you with that sharp right hand turn down into the harbor, and then just come flying right down there. So that may very well be on my list of races. And then the summer comes around, and I may very well participate in that Bank of Newport 10-miler.
Okay.
Again, because the organization is just fantastic. And it's only 10 miles. It's an hour and 5 minutes of all out running. So it's not that much work at all.
If you were going to give people suggestions about getting into running or running marathons,
Yep.
what would be the things you would suggest?
I would say start off maybe with just the run-walk method. Another big name is Jeff Galloway. He's got a great book out there. Just run-walk. Just tell yourself you're going to go out and you're going to run for 30 seconds, and then you're going to walk for a minute or 2 minutes and catch your breath, and then you're going to run for another 30 seconds, and just gradually work your way up to to where you're running nonstop. I don't think that there's an easy way to go from couch to marathon. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a couple years. No question about it. But consistency is key. And if you're doing too much too early, you will inevitably get hurt. And now you're setting yourself back weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
if you're not running, you're not progressing. That's the whole thing, So
your eyes can't be too big for your legs, kind of like they say your eyes can't be too big for your belly.
absolutely. You've probably heard couch to 5K.
Yeah, I've
Right?
heard that a lot.
So-
yeah, you're right. You can't do couch to marathon.
You cannot do couch to
doesn't
marathon.
work, yeah.
Couch to 5K, theoretically, you could probably get yourself in shape to run a 5K in 6 months. That's just not going to happen with a marathon. It's just simply not going to happen with a marathon. So
It's just so much of a different animal, even from the
half.
yeah. I mean, it's just so.
Well, there's a funny saying that 2 halves do not equal a full. It's just a completely different beast.
There's a lot of people that will call any road race a marathon because they don't know much about running. And I had a friend one time who told me her brother ran a half. She said he ran a marathon, but
Yeah.
he ran the New Bedford half marathon.
Okay.
And I said to her, he didn't run a marathon. He ran a half marathon, and she
just
said,
doesn't-
"So what? It's still a marathon."
Yeah, no, it's a road race.
But there's just such a big difference.
Yeah.
It's
It is a different animal, and the common theme amongst marathon is that the halfway point is 20 miles. It's not 13.1.
because that's where you
Yeah,
really hit
it's
it.
20 miles. And when you're trying to explain that to a non-runner, they sit down and they start doing the math, and they're like, oh, let me get this straight. It's 26.2, so half of that is 13, so half is 13. No, half of a marathon really isn't 13. It's 20 miles. Because, most of us can get to 20 miles.
Yeah.
You better get to 20 miles.
Yeah,
It's just the last
10K.
The last 10K is where it's make it or break it.
I was running the Providence Marathon
Yep.
with a friend of mine. It was her first marathon, and she wanted to do it for her 50th birthday.
Oh, nice.
She had never run a marathon before. And we got to that point at about 20 miles.
Everything.
She was having a difficult time,
Yeah.
and I did not know if we were going to finish. And some guy comes from the side of the road and sprays this stuff on her legs, and then all of a sudden
What was that?
we're off. I don't know what it was.
Some kind of mystery substance.
But we went off and finished. And
Wow, good for her.
It did something for her, but it was at that point. It was at that.
Yeah.
That 20 miles.
Now, during that race, were you fueling? Were you taking on hydration? Were you taking on gels at all?
We were.
Okay.
We were doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was her first one, and I think it was
Her last?
No.
No?
No. We did another one.
That's great.
But it was, yeah.
That's
It's just related to
Yeah.
the 20 miles.
Yeah.
that particular race, it really.
There's a lot of science behind the whole 20-mile thing.
It's called the wall.
The wall,
right?
and 20 miles is basically the point at which, you know, your body starts to run out of glucose. If you haven't taken on extra glucose, of course, you know, that just seems to be like the point at which, you know, your liver has just no more glucose in it. So that's why it's just so very important. Even early on, you got to start taking those gels and that Gatorade.
We did take the gels, and I would always take the Gatorade because you usually had a choice at the
Correct.
water stops
Yes.
between water and Gatorade, and I always took the Gatorade.
Yeah. All you got to do is hit the wall once, and you will learn very quickly that there's a science behind this, and you never want to feel that ever again.
Sneakers.
Sure.
What do you prefer? What do you think are the best out there?
Well, it's nowadays it's really hard to go wrong with shoes. I mean, I've tried it all. Currently, I'm a bit partial to Asics.
I would not wear anything other than Asics.
Oh, really?
I just thought they were the best by far. And
Good.
there was a salesman in the Bill Rogers running center. Do you remember when they had it next to Faneuil Hall?
Of course.
It's not there anymore.
In Quincy Market.
But he was one of these old time runners. He had the beard. And,
Yeah.
and he said to me, all these other sneakers, Nike, these other ones, they look really good, but they're not constructed as well as the Asics. And he said the Brooks. He liked those two sneakers. And,
Yeah.
but I would never wear anything but Asics.
Good. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm loyal to any one particular, you know, manufacturer. I would say that I'm loyal to Max Cushion shoes. You know, I mean, the shoes nowadays have like that much stack height. You know, probably a little bit different than the Asics that you were wearing years ago. You know. And that's just so much easier on your knees.
I mean, that trend semed to start with the Hokas, didn't it?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Because my running partner wore Hokas a lot. I've never worn them.
Oh, you would love them, George.
But you know,
you would absolutely you would think that you would be running on a pillow. Yeah, you're right. Hoka started that trend.
Maybe it would cure the arthritis in my hip that's
There you go.
been preventing me from running lately.
Yeah. But you can't go wrong. I don't think there's a manufacturer out there that really produces a bad shoe. I mean, it's just your personal preference, cost-wise, look-wise. And of course, there's, you know, shoes for all different stuff. You know, you should always be rotating your shoes. You know, I wouldn't wear Hokas to the track to do a speed session. You know, that's a different shoe altogether. You know, Sunday long runs, I wouldn't wear my track spikes on you know, Sunday long runs. That would be a Max Cushion shoe.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, it's nice talking to you about running. Anyway,
Thank you very much.
We could do this all day.
Yeah, I mean, talking to people about running is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it seems to be getting more popular in town.
I think so.
I think with the Somerset Runners group and the new races we've been having.
Yeah, Robert has done I mean, the entire committee, Robert and Adam and Heather.
Robert Goss.
Robert Goss. Yep. They've done a fantastic job with that road race, and I really think that it was a success this year. You know, it went really well.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully they can build off of it.
Hopefully, yeah, for sure.
So, okay, well, I'm sure I'll be seeing you out on the roads, and
you will.
Good luck in your next race.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Somerset Overtime. We've been talking to Somerset runner James Chaves about running, and we will see you next time.